I lived 14 years next door to LaWanda's School of Dance on Richmond Street. My family roamed between Little Rock and Kansas City until my father landed a long-term position with Ma Bell in Jonesboro. Our three-room house across the street from Nematogal Elementary School was perfect for a young couple with a toddler. My mother must have thought the location next door to a dance studio was predestined. She had loved to dance, and as she told me several times, got a trophy for winning a jitterbug contest. After graduating from high school in 1944, she worked for the Little Rock Chamber of Commerce and volunteered with a USO. A USO dance placed her in my father's sights. My father, more interested in her shape than her dance moves, closed in. 3 years later, I was born. 2 years after that, my pregnant mother greeted the opportunity to return to the scene of dance. After a third child, she began her adventure. I have no memory of learning to walk. I do remember dance classes. My mother signed me up for ballet, tap, and modern jazz. I blame my slew-footedness on being forced to stand too long in the first ballet position. LaWanda's alternative to at-rest soldier. The position did not put me at ease, nor did standing with my heel hooked over a ballet bar position for adults. My mother would not acknowledge my cry, "Boys are not made for this." She had plans. These included expanding a solo dancer to a trio. She would pay for the dance lessons by sewing costumes for all performers. I tolerated the awful things I had to wear on stage, but I said no when she constructed and presented me with a fringe shirt to wear to a party. LaWanda was a rough taskmaster. She demanded obedience in class, threatening to tell my mother if I strayed. My 5-foot mother would then ask me, "Do I need to tell your father?" I shook my head from resignation, not fear. There were no discussions of dancing as my family sat around the dinner table each evening. My parents did join a square dancing club, but they did not go out dancing otherwise. When their canasta club met for cards at our house, I would overhear talk about times before children. The men laughed about the past more than the women. My mother would smile as she told of going to a dance hall. Her attitude was romantic, imaginative, with a heightened sense of emotion about her past. She longed for something embedded within her memories. I remember seeing my parents slow dance as they chaperoned dance parties. I also recall my father's single advice to me about dancing: stand up straighter or you'll break that girl's back. I signed up for band at Annie Camp Junior High and asserting to my mother that I was too old for dance classes and that I needed to practice my other musical pursuit. Although she rarely heard me practice, she usually sent me outside to serenade the neighbors with my saxophone. She did accede to my pleas. At least she did to an extent. She allowed LaWanda to use me in recitals to change dance cards and enrolled me in adagio where I would be paired with a girl my age to learn to dance gracefully. Once I learned that graceful meant having to lift and carry someone my own size, I determined to get out of this as well. I was finally able to retire from LaWanda's stable of performers before I finished junior high school. My high school years brought a move to North Little Rock, 2.5 hours from LaWanda's School of Dance. I remained in dancing retirement until my second year of college. My return was short-lived. Needing money and tired of odd jobs, I agreed to teach a class for LaWanda in what she called social dancing. I had the wrong attitude for it. The photo in the newspaper ad for the class caught me in a weird posture and embarrassed me. Being the only dance partner for an all-female class exhausted my patience. I finished the class, left the job, and moved to selling blood in short stints in The holidays are a perfect time for dancing. Amid all the pressures of life and the added stress of this time of the year, there is joy. My mother, pictured here, saw dance as her connection to some inner joy. She had landed her partner at a dance. She welded bonds with her offspring through LaWanda's neighborhood studio. My mother loved the closeness, the laughter, and the spontaneity of dancing. She loved to slow dance with my father or me. She expected that I would ask her, walk her to the floor, and return her to her seat. Her pride was in being escorted by and holding her son. On trips home from college, I would spin her around and lift her over my shoulder while she laughed and cried, "Don Harvey, put me down. You'll make me wet my pants." My mother died a few years ago. I was by her bedside. She could not speak and had little ability to move. As I tried to say goodbye to her, she held my arm and looked into my eyes. I think of her as saying then, "Yes, I'd love to dance with you." My mother left her youth and her dancing to raise a family. She got them both back through her children and grandchildren. Her legacy to me is an appreciation for the sheer joy of the dance of life. What more could I possibly need this holiday season? I'm in position, I feel the music, and I'm beginning to move. Khaki, do you want to dance?
Yay!